Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is your pal, Steve Brown, and catch Dave and Ty on Nez Says every Thursday night on YouTube. Crank it up.
We're live, and today is October 22nd of 2020, and you're tuned into Nez Says, a place where musicians can get together and inspire each other to play more guitar. As always, I have Ty Price here right by my side. How you doing, Ty?
Hey, Dave. Happy Thursday. Great to be with you, as always.
Yeah,
Dave, I'm really excited to introduce our guest tonight, Mr. Marc Huzansky. And to many of you, Marc is no stranger. You know him from his YouTube broadcast, Tone Talk, that he created with amplifier genius Dave Friedman. Marc has graciously agreed to join us for a conversation tonight where we're going to cover all things music, guitars, gear, and I'm sure that there will probably be some Van Halen discussion. Marc, so happy to have you tonight. Welcome to Nez Says.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Real quick before you start the questions, let's say hello. Let's just say hello to some of the people in the chat. Thunder Falcon, Music Therapy Laz, Mike Neese, Ben Coombs, Thomas Santiago, Papa Blue, Richard Nesdall. Hey, Dad. Thunder Falcon. And we'll say hello to Thunder Falcon.
What a great name, Thunder Falcon.
Thunder Falcon.
Gotta love that. Right now we have 18 people in the chat, and we'll have more as time goes on. CHS Custom Guitars is here.
Hey, Craig.
Hey, Craig, how you doing? And we'll say hello to everyone else as they come in.
Ben Coombs, thank you for being here, sir, as always.
Yeah, Ben, what's going on?
Now, Marc, Tone Talk is, wow. I love it. I watch Tone Talk religiously.
That's so nice of you. Thank you.
Well, it's you guys do an amazing job. 83 episodes. I mean, it's really grown since your first episode with one of my favorite people, Grover Jackson.
Yeah, that was. It's amazing. It really is. I mean, thanks to Dave. I mean, I owe it all to Dave, really, because he's really the draw. Let's be honest. but it's been a lot of fun. I'm a lucky guy to be able to do it. I can't believe it's been 3.5 years of doing the show. We've had, like you said, going all the way back to Grover Jackson, who was the first guest. And I remember doing that first show. I was so nervous running everything. It was my first time ever, and if you notice on that show, it's focused on Grover the entire show. It's because I couldn't figure out how to change the camera to go back to anybody else. So it's not like in the beginning you'll see I think it's like to me and Dave and it kind of switched. That was like the old Google Hangouts that we used to use.
Sure. And
so it would switch to whoever was talking, and then it just locked on Grover. And I couldn't figure out how to take it off. So thankfully, but after that, it went great. Yeah, it's crazy. 83 episodes. It's a lot of fun.
That's a lot of work. It is.
That's
a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, Dave knows. He's been doing them he used to do them with Johnny Bean for like years, right? So
it's even longer
than me.
That was kind of the litmus test, I guess. For me, anyway. I don't know. I hadn't seen anyone do it until Johnny started doing it, and then I was like, well, I think I could do it. And, I mean, everyone's like, got their own cool show now. It's like everyone's got a cool show.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think we all have to kind of thank Johnny for that, because I think maybe he didn't start it, but it got popular with me that way. I thought it was that Johnny made it popular.
Well, the whole way I even got into this was because I discovered Johnny.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a friend, my friend Chris Powell, who's a big Van Halen fan. He linked me onto Tony's Van Halen page, Eddie Van Halen page on Facebook.
Sure.
And so I got onto that page, and that was like oh, because all of a sudden I saw all these other Van Halen fans, and all these Van Halen posts, and I saw the Johnny Bean show, and I saw someone else's show that I saw. It was Johnny's. Oh, it was Broadbent's.
Yeah.
So I saw Johnny and Eric's show, and that was kind of like, and it wasn't like I wanted to be on a show or anything like that. I just reached out because I was having a problem with one of my Wolfgangs.
Mm-hmm.
It just wouldn't. It had a detune on it. I couldn't figure out for the life of me why it wouldn't stay in tune. And I reached out, well, I believe, to both shows, just like, hey, when do you guys help me out? And that was really how it all came about. And I think I was a guest on Johnny's show at some point. I was a guest on Eric's show at some point, and the rest is history. Like 4 years later, crazy.
Wow. Well, that's a very similar story to me. That's how I met Dave. And in fact, I was having a problem with Wolfgang. Okay. And that's really how I met Dave. And someone had told me about Johnny, and they said, hey, there's this guitar tech that hangs out on the show, and quickly realized that Dave knew exactly what he was talking about. And I was watching Johnny and Dave and Jay, and
by the way, Jay's in the chat. Hello, Jay.
Oh, hey, Jay. And that's exactly how Dave and I came to know each other. And before you know it, I'm sending guitars up to Dave to fix and set up. And man, Dave, your reputation preceded you. You awesome job as always.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's just a long time, just doing it for 20 plus years of just setting up guitars. That's,
I was so turned on to your Grover Jackson episode, Mark, because for so many of us, he played a instrumental role, pun fully intended, in our guitar quest. I mean, he built the most amazing guitars.
Yeah, I mean, to me,
and the most coveted, right? We all wanted them,
Yeah. Even before I played guitar, I knew of Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I knew Jackson guitars. And then of course, as I became a musician over the years, just getting to, I saw Grover Jackson even before I was doing the show with Dave, when I did the show with that Van Halen show with the other guy. So I met Grover at NAMM one time, and I was awestruck with him. I was just like, holy shit, that's Grover Jackson. And most people would be like, who? But to us, it's like, okay, well, he worked with Ed, first of all, on things, and he, all the artists that he's built guitars for, Randy Rhoads, that's probably the biggest one, because that guitar is built by Grover.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So great story on that, by the way. I had him build that for me after the show. And let me grab it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
A couple of other folks in here. I saw Charlie in here. Liquid Charlie, we're so glad you're here, buddy.
Oh, Charlie. What's up, Charlie?
Mannequins is here.
Yeah, she says, feel free to send all problem Wolfgangs her way.
Quentin James is here.
Oh, cool.
Hey,
Quentin has a. I was going to say Ben's got a great show.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
And Quentin's always funny. He always cracks me up.
Hey, Dwight Bailey, how you doing?
Dwight Bailey, I love Dwight Bailey. Dwight posted a new video today maybe. Fantastic. All of you guys that follow Dwight online, go show Dwight some love for that.
Cool. So he built this for me, which is great, and then he signed it for me. I can't show you.
Oh, cool. That's really cool.
Oh,
man.
there it is.
There it is, right there.
Sure.
Is it a GJ2 logo on the headstock?
Yeah, it's a GJ2.
Yeah, cool.
It's a great guitar. Super cool. So I ordered it from him. and I got it, and it was broken. So the tip was broken off here, and it had no pinstripes. And I was so bummed out. I was like, oh no, man. So I contacted him. We filed a claim with UPS. UPS ended up taking the guitar back. So he built me another one. And I made sure I wrote him. I said, Grover, make sure it's got the pinstripes, and, you pack it really well and whatever, And so I waited, as you can imagine, probably 3 months. Or 2.5 months, 3 months to get the guitar again. And then it arrived, and I swear it felt like deja vu, man. It was like, you got to be kidding me. It was all white, and it was broken again.
Oh my God.
Right? So the tip was broken off, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? So I didn't know what to do. And, I didn't want to piss off Grover, I know he was busy, and he's in between doing everything else with the Friedman line he was doing, and I didn't want to be a pain in the ass. But eventually I contacted him, and I told him, and so we worked. At first he was like, I'll just give you your money back. And I was like, no, man, I don't want you to do that. The whole reason why I wanted the guitar from you is because I wanted a guitar built by Grover Jackson. It doesn't need to say Jackson on it. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be built by you. So Dave had a great suggestion. Just bring it to a guy who does hot rods. And, because they do pinstriping for hot rods.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. I contacted a guy in Miami who worked on hot rods, and he did the pinstriping for me.
That's beautiful.
That's fantastic.
And then he also fixed the tip for me.
Oh,
so
great.
It's painted white.
That's awesome, man. That's such an awesome guitar.
It is. And it sounds great. It's a fantastic guitar.
What's it loaded with?
I actually took out the bridge. The bridge pickup is a Motor City pickups.
Mm-hmm. Hothead?
What's that?
Is that a hothead? Motor City hothead?
No, it's what's it called? Second degree black belt.
Oh yeah, black belts. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
And then the bridge. I mean, it's gonna be in the neck. I replaced it with a slash bridge pickup that I just had laying around. I wasn't overly fond of Grover, the GJ2 pickups, to be honest with you. They were a little sterile for me, but yeah. So, but Motor City pickups are great. If no one's checked those out,
fantastic.
Really good.
I have a Les Paul loaded with Motor Cities. In fact, it's a black Les Paul custom. And the first time Dave and I met Sammy Bowler, I told Sammy, we were asking him about his guitar, and he said, well, here's these Motor Cities. And I reached over and grabbed a black custom and said, here's mine, Motor Cities. I mean, there's a local player, a guy that's also been on our show, an alum. His name's Jay Ellis. He turned me on to Motor Cities years ago, and he was like, man, these pickups will change your life. And I contacted Wes, and he was amazing and got me exactly that. Yeah, man, they're fantastic.
I have yet to try those pickups, and I desperately want them, and I don't know what guitar to put them in.
Well, you only have a couple to choose from.
I know. It sucks being
right? Just close your eyes and just pick one. No, I mean, I was thinking about getting another one for my my Les Paul, but I don't know. I've got a Friedman Classic Plus that I think I'm going to throw in my Les Paul. So, which is right there.
How easy is it to find left-handed pickups?
It's it's always been a challenge. Actually, it's funny because Sean from Pariah, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, he actually said, I can make you left-handed pickups. I'm like, but he wasn't kidding, though.
That's pretty funny, though.
I thought he was busting my balls. I really did think but he said, no, I can put the lead wire closer to the
other side.
The other side.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So sure. I was like, oh, okay, because that is a common problem, on a lefty guitar because the lead wire comes out the
wrong end.
It comes out the wrong end, right? It's coming out here instead of the bottom here for the for the controls.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. That'll be helpful. So I never knew that. That was a new thing for me.
And I haven't tried Pariah pickups yet. I've heard a lot of positive things. I was talking to Caleb on the phone today, and he was telling me that he's got one loaded in one of his guitars. I don't remember exactly which guitar he was referring to, but he loves them. Dave, I've heard you mention them. Mark, I just heard you mention
have them in several guitars. Yeah,
I've got them.
I've got to try it.
Yeah, Pariah pickups are good. Sean's a good dude. I've got one in my 5150 that he did, which was like a replica of the EVH Frankenstein pickup, but the relic Frankenstein pickup.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Like the one that Eddie signed, right?
Yeah, the signed one, yeah.
Yeah. So he I guess he got a hold of that and dissected it and figured out how to make that one. So that was pretty cool. And it's hot and yeah, it's cool. So yeah.
Rob just said that he wishes I could turn up in the mix, Dave. So hey, Rob, we were having this issue, pre-shows for whatever reason. I guess I'm having some sort of
now
mic
Ty,
EQ issue tonight.
Ty, on your blue microphone, do you have a switch on it where you can where it's dynamic or cardioid or whatever? Do you have any of that on there?
I do.
Can you switch it around? Maybe it got moved. Just switch back and forth and talk real quick.
Yep. How's that?
Nope. Same.
Same.
Yep.
I don't know. Sorry. I apologize to everybody in the chat that may have a hard time hearing me tonight.
You know what? It's not that it's not. You're not hard. You're not hard to hear. You're crystal clear. It's just.
It
sounds like there's a room mic in there, and you're not right up to the mic. But it's
sorry about
what
that.
It is. No
Craig just mentioned bare knuckle pickups. I love bare knuckles.
Me too.
Yeah, they're great too.
Yeah,
I've got. Interestingly enough, I never would have bought them, like myself, but they looked so cool in this Jackson Silver Sparkle guitar that I have. It's a soloist, but they came with the bare knuckle Misha Mansour periphery pickups.
Oh, never
they're
heard
called
of those.
Juggernauts.
Huh.
They're pretty hot. I mean, they're like 12 and 15K or something, or maybe even hotter. But they're good. I mean, they're not. I mean, I'm not playing gent music, so. But it sounds pretty good. But yeah, bare knuckles are cool. They're from the UK, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they're in England.
Yeah, England.
I've got a set of mules in a Les Paul that whatever gig I take that Les Paul on, somebody asks me, okay, what's going on with that guitar? They're just the most. For that guitar, inside that guitar, they're just the most spectacular pickups I've used in that gold top.
So I have a set
and I know
of mules.
Steve Stevens built his signature model bare knuckle off of the mule platform, which is reason alone to try them. I mean, if they work for Steve Stevens. So.
Is Steve Stevens using bare knuckles now?
He's using Motor Cities and bare knuckles. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
both.
that.
It just depends on the guitar.
Yeah.
So real quick, I've had bare knuckles in guitars, but I have a bare knuckles set in a new guitar that is in the middle of being built. Do you guys mind if I show you the body?
Yeah, let's see. Ooh,
that's very cool, Dave.
Donnie Ward is building me an Ibanez Explorer Destroyer,
like
a 70s version,
Wow.
and it should be done by December. And this is shh, keep it quiet so no one here at the house knows. Shh.
Yeah, don't say a thing. Are you doing the neck like an Ibanez Destroyer?
It's going to look like a Gibson Explorer, like they were back then.
Right.
Ibanez made them like that in the 70s, and it's basically what's it, Eddie Van Halen's guitar, the Shark. The headstock's going to look like the Shark headstock.
Right.
Yeah, it should be amazing, and I should
You're
have
gonna paint
it
it white.
It's gonna be natural. I'm just
cool.
gonna make it natural. I don't want it to be a Van Halen guitar or a replica of a Van Halen guitar. I just want an Explorer, and I don't want to spend $8,000 on a Gibson Custom Shop Carina Explorer. And Donnie builds really great replicas, amazing replicas. So I was like, all right, for about
Oh, is that Karina?
no, but you know,
Okay.
the Ibanez version is ash.
Right. Okay.
But
But
it's
if you
close.
stain
It's
it the
close
right
enough.
way.
Yeah, it's close enough, and it's gonna look great. It's gonna be a yellow tint, kind of a see-through yellow type
Right.
clear. So it'll look like it's an old one, and I just can't wait to get it. Plus the mule pickups, which is what we were talking about.
That'll be super. But Tom just said that he's Steve Stevens' signature nags with mules. I bet that's
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh man. First of all, Nags doesn't make lefty guitars, so, or at least the models that I would want, like the Steve Stevens model. Like,
Sure.
oh man, I would love to have that guitar, but it's they're really expensive. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but, I mean, you're getting a great quality guitar. I'm not
You are
downplaying
indeed.
that. It's an amazing instrument, but you really got to be invested.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a Steve Stevens from anywhere between $3,500 and $7,000 or $8,000, depending what's on it. But yeah, it's
And then if you as a righty, you might be able to find a used one.
yeah,
Which is another.
yeah, they're all over the internet, somewhere in the vicinity of $4,000 to $5,000. Because they're all great flame tops, all tier 1.
Oh yeah.
It's,
I didn't realize they wouldn't make a lefty guitar.
I've contacted the guys over there, and they're like, yeah, we're just not. They don't do it. Which is fine. There's one Nags on Reverb, which was a employee model, like somebody who worked there built it, and it's like it looks like a violin burst or something like that. I follow it on Reverb all the time. It's never sold, but it's like $8,000. So it's like, yeah, I can't spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Yeah, but they're great instruments, no doubt.
They certainly are. I love mine, and I love the way they feel. I love the way they play. I love the way they sound. I love mine. They are everything I want in that single cut guitar. But I've told Dave. I told Dave Friedman this when he joined us. I'm dying to try his single cut, his Metro D guitar, and I was talking to Sammy about it last week. That I loved it, and Sammy was like, "Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's an amazing guitar."
It felt really cool. I asked Dave about them making a lefty of that, and he said he'd look into it, but haven't heard anything yet on that. So I shouldn't be spending any money anyway, so it's not like I'm pushing. So,
Yeah.
When time's right, maybe I'll ask again. But but that Metro D is really a cool guitar.
I'm very interested in trying. I love the way that I love the vibe that Friedman Guitars captures. It feels like a working man's guitar.
Certainly does.
I like everything that's happening with that company. I really think that Friedman is on to something inherently spiritual in guitar players. He's just in tune with what's going on.
I agree. I mean, Dave's got a great ear. He's just first of all, he's a great guy, really nice guy. As I've gotten to know him, I know some people have met him at NAMM and be like, oh, but I mean, he's just getting bombarded by people left and right. But
that's what that's exactly
crazy.
Right. It's a trade show. This guy is working, and people are
working.
trying to
crazy.
be his best bud, and you can't do that when you're working. You just can't.
Yeah, it's tough. But getting to know him over the years, I mean, his ear, he's got a special ear. He really does. He can hear things that I can't hear. Most people, but when you play it, you're like, oh, okay, now I know what the hell he's talking about. It's a spiritual thing. I've got his Cali guitar.
Oh, you have a Cali?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
look
nice,
at that.
man.
Oh, is that candy apple red?
Yeah, it's candy apple red.
Holy
Beautiful color,
crap.
too.
Over like over a sunburst, so you can. It's got the gold from the and that's how it looks back there. And of course, it's signed by Grover. I should put it this way, probably.
Oh man, that's a pretty guitar.
I love this guitar.
That's awesome, man.
And it's you can't tell, but it's really relict. I mean, it's really, it's very worn in. It plays great. Yeah, the Friedman is great stuff. Really, really great guitars. I definitely recommend it to anybody. By the way, I wanted to say I've seen a few familiar names in the chat. I hope all these guys are doing well. Like CHS Guitars, Craig and Jay and Amanda Coombs, all these folks that I haven't seen in a while. I hope they're all doing good. So
Bozique. Hey, Bozique.
Yeah, Bozique, all these people. Stephen Douglas. And Alan Ford's asking, is Grover still with Friedman? Yeah, he is. Yes, he's still working. He's not a young guy, but he's still working.
Still making great things.
Yeah, he makes great guitars, man. And they they also pleck the guitars.
Yeah.
And I really do notice a difference between a guitar that's been plecked and not.
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it on this show again. I'm sure whoever plecks him for Friedman knows really what he's doing, because a pleck machine is only as good as the guy programming it. If you don't know what you're doing or what to look for, the machine isn't going to know what to look for. So certain guys in the world really do an amazing job, because you got to be a guy that really knows how to fret a guitar to begin with to work a pleck machine. But yeah, the guy, it's only as good as the guy using it. So
well, that makes sense.
Good.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, I agree. The great instruments, good stuff.
So Mark, what do you when you're seeking a new guitar? I mean, what are some of the things you're looking for?
It depends on the time, but there was a period of time where I was just on a tear with Van Halen guitars. I think all you guys know what I'm talking about. But then, here's the thing, at least that I've learned, is if you can afford it, go for the quality. Because when you start buying some crappy guitar, you're always going to be like, oh, I want to upgrade it, or I want to get something better. So if you can afford the best instrument that you can get at that time, that's at least my advice, because I've learned from that. I've been like, oh, I got to get rid of this. Like I bought like an LTD Kirk Hammett. Like this was like within my first 5 years of playing. Like my first Floyd Rose guitar, and it was a Kirk Hammett LTD. Man, I couldn't wait to get rid of that guitar. And it was cheap, and it sounded horrible. It wouldn't stay in tune regardless.
just like Kirk.
Yeah. I should have put a walk through it. Maybe it'd sound great at that point.
Oh, Jay is probably telling me to fuck off.
That's funny. But nowadays it has to be like a special thing for me to like what guitar I've really just been wanting to get, at least before. I wanted to get a Luke guitar. We were talking about that earlier. Those Ernie balls are great, but they don't make a lefty. Despite someone sending me 2 pictures of lefty Lukes, I think they just swapped the image and just wanted to mess with me. Yeah, they might have just inverted the image. They're like, no, they make them, but I'm like, I can't find one for sale anywhere.
Why don't you call Sterling? Call Ernie Ball. See if they.
I actually contacted a guy on LinkedIn.
Oh, no kidding.
Who's their product specialist, and wrote them and said, and I even asked Luke. I asked Luke Ather, is there any way?
He's got a little pull.
Yeah.
By the way, your show with Luke, both of them were fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
I told that to Dave the other day. He was like, "Oh, thank you." I'm like, he's like, "You watch the show?" I'm like, "Who doesn't watch your show? Come on."
That's really nice of you. Luke Ather, God, what a dream. I'm just a lucky guy. I mean,
God, what a
I'm a
player.
lucky guy because just to talk to that guy, I read his book, and after
Mhm.
I read his book, I was even more amazed that I had the opportunity to talk to the guy. I was just like, oh my God, the amount of work that he's done, and then have him on the second time and get to ask him some of those questions about, okay, well, tell me about when you worked with James Ingram and and Quincy Jones, and like just all on the Dude album or this or that. It's just like crazy. It's crazy to me. But yeah, what a nice guy. Really sweetheart of a guy.
There's so many lessons that we can take away from Luke, and I'll just go ahead and lay. I'm a huge Lukather fan. From everything from Toto to Olivia Newton-John, love it all. Um, the way in which the tone, undeniable, one of the best guitar tones, period. And I know that he is you know he always picks on himself over the Starlets video, like he can't get away from it. I used to watch that thing in awe. That was my favorite Starlets video because he made everything about him. He's
It's
just one of
cool.
the more he is a rock player that can fit in any context, and there's so much that we can all take away from those lessons, to write down to writing hit songs for George Benson. I mean, he can do it all.
Yeah.
He really is rare.
Yeah, and he's humble. He's just an amazing player. Just, I mean, if you go down the list of just the things that the guy played on, it's just like insane. Like you mentioned, Olivia Newton-John. To go from Toto to Olivia Newton-John to play on Barbra Streisand, uh, you know, just the craziest stuff. I mean, he wrote the song "Talk to You Later" by the Tubes.
Yeah.
The Tubes,
Amazing. Yep.
I
I mean, Thriller, the whole record. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Thriller is, that album, Beat It, of course. But some, just some of the other stuff. Like I heard an interview with Van Halen, with Ed, where he was talking about that Lukather sold songs to Dave for his first album, for his first solo album.
Wow.
really.
And I was like, so I wanted to, I was like, oh, I got to ask Luke that, like, what song did you sell to, was it on the Eat 'Em and Smile album? What did you, and I was like, I'm not going to bother the guy. I don't want to do that, but I'm such a freak about, I wanted to know, like, I heard that in that interview. I'm like, okay, well, what song did he sell to David Lee Roth? But yeah, Luke's an amazing player. It was his birthday just the other day. He had Ringo Starr pop in and say hi to him.
How cool is that?
It is fantastic.
A living Beatle.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Well, he plays with him, so I mean, that's
I know.
it's just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a tour that happens, I pray I get to see them and maybe meet Luke in person. That would be.
Well, I read this week that there are plans.
Let's just hope.
And so we got to get through whatever we got to get through this COVID environment, of course, so that it's safe for all of us to do that. But there are plans, and for all of you out there in the chat, if you've not heard Lukather, his live tone, you just owe it to yourself as a guitar player, as a musician, to just go hear the man play. It's genius. Really.
Yeah, I agree. I've not had the opportunity to see him live, so it'll be amazing. Stephen Douglas said it was so classy that Luke asked Eddie if he could write for Dave. Yeah, I don't know if you know the story, but yeah, he called Ed to ask him. I was asked to write some songs for Dave. Is that cool? And Ed was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Which is pretty wild. Yeah.
Mark, you interviewed one of my other favorite people, John Suhr.
Oh man,
you interviewed him twice, and
he's been on the show even more than that, I think.
Oh, has he?
Maybe even 3 times.
I think it was 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, amazing. I mean, John Suhr. Oh, that's right. Because, back to the first interview, there was so much to really unpack in that episode, just in terms of the knowledge that he was able to just casually talk about around the construction of a guitar. You know, how all the pieces and parts go together to create this this amazing thing. So
Yeah, he's so experienced. He's like a scientist when it comes to the instrument, you know, like he has dissected the instrument down to the very last nuance, like how the string vibrates and what, you know, like he's really, you know, that guy is impressive, very smart. He makes amazing equipment. I have not owned a Sir product until just recently. I just got, let me see if I can put my camera down. See this right here?
Yep.
I can't. It's dark for me.
It's too dark.
Hang on. Let me fix this.
Yeah.
Now,
There we go.
let's see.
So right there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's a small combo, but it's just a 1x12 combo. It's called the Ombre,
Oh yeah. Cool, man.
and it's a great little amp. It's basically, it sounds like ZZ Top.
Oh sure. Yeah. Cool.
So it's like your first few albums of ZZ Top, Trace Ombres, and it's just a natural breakup amp. It's based on a Fender Brown Face.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's a killer amp. John Suhr makes amazing stuff. They really do. I've wanted a guitar of theirs for a long time, but just like everything in moderation. I can't get it all. So one day. But it's called the Ombre.
That's
Pentaine.
awesome.
Oh, you tried it at
One of
NAMM.
those.
That's cool. Yeah, I think Andy Wood was playing it at NAMM, and
Well, there's a player.
But that guy could play through any type of guitar, through a Gorilla amp, and he's amazing.
yeah, it's just
Like,
what
he's
a player.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. There's just some players like Andy Wood, Pete Thorne, God, you know,
Cameron Brown.
Cameron Brown is a great player. Yep. There's, you know, just like no matter what they play, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Tubbs.
Oh,
yeah,
Sean's
great
amazing.
player.
Have you had him on yet?
Yeah, he's been on a couple times.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was on one show. We had J Rocket Audio, Chris Van Tassel from J Rocket.
Sure.
Who made,
Got one of his dude pedals on my pedal board.
Yeah, that's like based off of what
A Dumble.
Dumble, yeah.
Basically, all of his pedals are based off a Dumble. All of his overdrives.
His overdrives.
Yeah, just different Dumbles and different. Yeah, but yeah, it's a great sounding pedal.
Yeah.
Mark, we're telling you what some of our favorite episodes were. What are some of your favorite episodes? What are some of the ones that stand out for you?
You know, one that was just, it was so chock full of information, of course, because I'm such a Eddie Van Halen fan, was James Brown.
Yeah.
And all the work that he did at PV and the 5150 and everything like that. And he had such great stories. He made me crack up. Like, just, you know, like from the moment the interview started, he was just F-bombs, and it was just great. Like I said, you know, he's like, we were just talking about like where you're from, and he's like, well, it's hotter than where you fuckers are. I just got the interview.
Was he still in Mississippi at that point? Was he still?
Yeah.
In
So I'd love to have him back, because now he's working on the EVH
He's
brand.
EVH, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he'll be allowed. Probably not, now that he's working for them. I've tried to get what's his name? Kaplan. Howard Kaplan.
Howard Kaplan, yeah, president of Fender.
Yeah, he's over at he still works at EVH, I
Yeah.
think, with James. I had tried to get him on a few times also, but they're, I guess, contractually obligated. They can't come on, you know, talk about things.
I know what you mean. I tried to get Chip Ellis, ain't happening.
Dude, I even had the inside track with Chip Ellis with, you know, somebody over at Fender, and that had asked him, and at first he agreed, and then he was like, yeah, no, I'm good. So it's cool. I mean, I respect everybody's privacy. You know, some people just don't want to get online and talk. I get it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think a lot of it is they automatically assume, well, like that guy. He's probably automatically assuming, well, all they want to know about is Ed and stuff I can't talk about. Like, that's not the case at all. I want to
No,
know about that guy. I want to know about you, not about someone you work for.
right.
You know,
There's so much to talk about.
of course.
Another favorite interview, Steve Vai.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you have no idea how nervous I was just doing the test phone call with him. Like, because you guys do the show, you obviously, like, we do a test before.
Sure.
You want to make sure everything works. And so they gave me, this was back when I was using Ecamm, so I was using Skype as the platform.
Right.
And they gave me his Skype address to call, and before I hit that button, I was so freaking nervous. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to call Steve Vai. This is insane. It was just like insane. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. And just having him on the show was just a dream come true. I mean, he really is a very Zen-like figure, like his advice, not only the way he plays, but just his philosophy in life and the philosophy about everything about him. It's just very, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but
it's exactly what you're saying. He plays guitar. He talks
right.
the way he plays guitar. You can actually see him talking the way he plays guitar.
There's an eloquence about Steve Vai. I don't know if it's the Italian thing or, there's just some eloquence about him that, and the way he plays and the way he talks and everything is just so, there's a beautifulness about it, really. Just some of his advice and everything. And just having the opportunity to talk to him was a gift. And then I normally wouldn't do this to most guests, but for Steve, I asked specifically. I went out and the next day I went out and bought an Ibanez RG 550, and I asked him if I can send him the back of the guitar, the
back plate.
Yeah, exactly. So they said sure, and I mailed it off to him, and with all he needed was just to throw it back in a box and mail it to me. It had a pen, it had everything, self-addressed stamped envelope back to me, and sure enough, within like a week, I got it back.
That's amazing.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll show it to you actually.
Yeah, Steve's
Oh,
amazing.
very cool.
An amazing dude.
Yeah, really, just such a nice guy. I remember when he joined with David Lee Roth, right? So, but here's the RG 550.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's a very cool guitar.
Yeah,
thanks. And so he signed it on the back for me.
And look at there.
How do I got to do this? So, Mark,
Yeah,
thanks for the
that's very
podcast. There you go, changing the world, Steve Vai.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I love it. I'm not, the neck's a little thin for me. I'm not a huge fan of the wizard neck.
So, I know for a fact they make a white gem and lefty, like one of the white ones with the gold hardware, the 7V, I guess it's called 7V,
Right.
WH. Those necks are thicker than the guitar you have there.
Really?
All these gem necks are a bit thicker, so you might actually love that guitar.
Is that one made in Japan, or is that one?
Yeah, it's Japanese. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love the guitar and I can play it fine. It's just, it's hard to go from most other guitars to this because it's like, wow, this is so thin.
Small. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like that thin. I mean,
Sure.
So, but yeah, that was a great time with him. The other, we were talking earlier, Ty, you asked me like, which maybe interview I want to do over.
Oh yeah, So, or is there one that you said, wow, if I could hit the redo button, I would redo it?
Well, I want to have Josh Scott back on from JHS Pedals because he was on the show, but his internet was really bad. And it was almost impossible to have a great, a good conversation with him. And he's a really funny guy. And I think we were just more worried about like how bad the internet was than focusing on having a good conversation, So I'd love to have him back. I know he does his own live streams and all that stuff now. So the internet is much better than it was. So yeah, that's one show. That's not his fault. I mean, it's just one of those things. But I'd love to have him back on, because I mean their pedals just blew up. I mean,
and good stuff.
They sound great.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one pedal that I've got. If it's like, if you're not a tube screamer guy, but you want to get a tube screamer just to have one, like in your arsenal, like, okay, I want to have a tube screamer, I would get the JHS Bonsai pedal, which is, it's 9 tube screamers. Basically, it's 9 different circuits of different tube screamer circuits, the TS9, the TS7, the Robert Keeley modded one, like it's his JHS modded one, so it's like just 9 different, and it's great just to put it on your board and just go through, okay, well, let me check out this tube screamer, let me check out that one, so it's nice. I like that, having that many options with one pedal. So I like that pedal. What other JHS do I have? I know I have one other one. I can't think of it though.
You got the Andy Timmons JHS, Dave?
Yes, I do. I have it. In fact, I have it plugged in right now.
Oh, dogs are getting out.
It's a little loud in here.
Time to go.
A little bit loud. Real quick, Janice Lala says, Nez says it was 2 years ago today. 2 years ago that we took a picture together. Happy anniversary, Janice.
Yeah.
I was at EVH Con 2 years ago.
You
were there. Mark, you were there, Mark.
I was there.
Yeah, I saw pictures of me and you today.
On
really? Facebook. Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah, it's those were good days when we can all get together and as humans.
Yes.
And gather.
Right.
Thunder Falcon asked me, have you tried to get John Sykes on the show? Me personally, no, but I know Dave has done some work for John recently on one of his amps. So it's a possibility. I know Dave has some, contact with him. So hopefully one day, Dave and I don't plan on ending the show anytime soon. So
we have plenty of people to interview.
There are, but the tough part is getting them. But COVID certainly made it easier though. Reaching people.
Sykes is my favorite player, and I've watched the section where I want to ask you a couple of questions about Bob Rock. But when he comes back and says how he got that, with mic placement, how he dealt that tone in. I just kept backing backing it up and re-listening to that section. And then he gets to the part where he said that Sykes may have been the most talented player he had ever been around. And everybody that's been around Sykes says that. And Dave knows that, and a lot of people that tune in regularly know that I'm pretty fanatical when it comes to Sykes and
there's
everything
always a
about him
Sykes
stylistically.
reference.
Yeah. Well, I mean, stylistically, he brings all those elements of my favorite players. He brings it, presents it, makes it look effortless while he sings on top of it. I mean, how good can it get? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, that Whitesnake album, the tone on that.
Oh my God.
It's monstrous. Monstrous. Bob Rock, God, that's another interview that was insane. I was so lucky to have him.
I gotta ask you, Mark. Were you scratching your head when he decided to do the interview from his car?
Yeah, but totally. Dave and I, we even said, like, Dave's like, for me, like, I have to, I try to be very respectful, and
Sure.
like, so whatever they want to do is fine by me. Right.
Sure.
Like, all right, you want to do it from your car? All right, let's give it a try. Like, I just don't, I don't want to be like the one that's going to be like, Bob, but Dave did say, really? Why can't you do it in your house? Like in a studio or something? And then he he said, I think he either said it offline or maybe online. No, actually, it was offline. He said, "Yeah, I got something going on in my house and it's too loud. Can't do it in there." He's like, "It'll be better in the car." So we were like, "Okay, So what do you say, right?"
Yeah, you got Bob Rock.
Yeah. So all right, let's give it a shot. Let's make it work. But most people probably don't know is the whole reason why I switched to StreamYard was because I couldn't get Bob Rock to work Skype. So we were like 20 minutes to go live at this point, and I still hadn't been able to get him to work the Skype and get everything working. And Pete was on that show with us, right? And so Pete goes, "Well, why don't you try StreamYard?" He's like, "If there's no software, he doesn't have to use Skype or anything. He just use Google Chrome. He can download it on his phone." So literally like 20 minutes before the show, Bob was downloading Google Chrome onto his phone, and I'm setting up StreamYard. I think it was the free version. Maybe it wasn't for that first show. I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, and I downloaded it and got it all working. And,
Luckily, StreamYard's pretty easy to use.
It's great. I think it's a great platform. It's a little expensive, if you want to brand everything, and if you're not using the free one.
Yeah, no, we're not using the free one either.
Yeah, it was like $2 something for like the year, which was a bit expensive, but whatever. It works. I'm happy with it. So yeah, but Bob, so those stories from Bob were insane.
Oh, they were great, man.
Because he really did work on albums. Almost every album that he's worked on have been some of my favorites.
Me too.
So, just what was the first one that I'm like drawing a blank on the stuff? Oh, Loverboy.
Oh, you're right.
Like, which I wasn't even, like growing up. Sure, their videos were on MTV, but Turn Me Loose. I mean, great tone. Just. I remember as a kid just cranking that up no matter what,
Paul Dean was such an amazing guitar player.
And Bob Rock talked about how great Paul Dean was, like how great he was live, how great he was in the studio. I mean, it was really cool to hear those stories, because Bob Rock has been a part of a lot of albums that were the soundtrack of my youth.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I had no idea when I went through his discography on some of the albums that he even worked on, and how many albums he actually had worked on with Motley Crue afterward, and he stuck with them for a long time, and then and then of course Metallica, the whole thing is just crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was great. And then do you remember when he switched cars?
Yes.
So he's like. He disappeared off the thing, and then he came back, and he's like, "All right, new car."
That's so funny.
It's closer to the Wi-Fi. We're like, "Okay,
that's awesome.
Let's do it."
That's really awesome.
So funny. You've
got quite a few suggestions in the chat. Somebody was saying you got to have Jakey Lee back. That was a fun show.
We'd love to have Jake back. I think that'll happen. I think so.
Stephen Douglas really is lobbying for Michael Wagner. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I think Michael Wagner. Yeah, I've looked at his stuff before. We've gotten requests for Michael Wagner, Tom Bukovac.
I've been trying to get Tom Bukovac for a while. I actually talked to him, and the thing with him is he doesn't want to do any streams. He's very reluctant to even do his own. He does it, but he just doesn't.
Really?
Just not into it.
I love what he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people, I totally get it. I don't push. I mean, there's been some people. Like I wanted to get Tom Anderson on.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Totally respect his guitars. Guitar building, and I think he had some ties to Ed also. At some point.
Yeah, he built the neck and put the neck on the Frankenstein in '87 with the hockey stick.
With the what?
With the hockey stick headstock.
Right. Yeah.
He also moved the Floyd on his guitar so it would intonate.
There, I believe I read that exactly. Yeah. So I would love to have him, but he's not really into it, which is cool. Totally fine by me.
Yeah.
How about Nuno?
Nuno.
Mm.
I'd love to have Nuno on. I don't know how to reach him. If anybody knows how to reach him, please let me know. I'd love to have Nuno on.
Mm-hmm.
He's a trip. He seems like a really good guy. He was on. You ever see the Masters of Shred?
Yeah.
Thing? Yeah. So he was on there. Derek interviewed him one time, and I think they were playing a show with. It was the. They were with Zach Wild, and it was like a bunch of and Steve Vai. It was a bunch of guitar
Generation
players.
X.
Yes.
Yeah.
I missed that like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, I love Nuno. Love Zach too. I'd love to see y'all interview Zach as well.
Yeah. I should have gone to that show, but yeah, Nuno's great. Just an amazing player. They have a new album coming out, don't they?
Yes. Yeah. I love Nuno's feel. I mean, his rhythm playing. I mean, look, the lead playing is spectacular, but his rhythm playing, I get really turned on about the way he approaches things rhythmically, and then how he's really tied in to the rhythm section itself. That it's not just a compliment; that it's a full composition. So,
yeah,
he's definitely got his own thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quentin says he has Nuno's number. He'll let me know. All right, great, man. I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Well, you know what? With Quentin, I don't know if he really does or not, because he's got a lot of cats' numbers.
Steven asks, Mark, I get the sense Dave isn't too keen on Nuno I just think Dave's not a Nuno fan from his playing perspective. I don't think it has anything to do with Nuno as a person or anything like that. No, I think it's just playing wise, he's just not a Nuno fan. At least that's my opinion. Yeah, Generation X was amazing. I should have gone. I heard it was really cool. They also did like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
Yes.
That was insane. Mm-hmm. Every tour they do one really popular song their way, and it's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna top that one though.
Hopefully.
So, Mark, what are you doing now? Now we're all stuck at home in COVID, but generally speaking, what are you doing musically now? I mean, tell us about your pursuit as a musician and how you balance that with everything else you have going on.
That's a great question. I'm not sure how other people are. Everybody's got all this recording equipment, and it's so easy to record something. And then when it comes right down to it, it's like, I just don't do it, and I want to record. And, I did the intro song for my show.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some cool feedback on that. Like when Luke
from Lukather.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that was mind blowing. So that was even like inspirational to me. It was like, all right, go in, finish that song. Like go in and just finish that one song, because I just got like a section of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, go in and finish that song, but it's just motivation to go in and finish music. I don't know what it is. Like I love practicing guitar. I love learning new songs. Different techniques of Ed's or whoever. A couple months back, I took a course from Johnny Highland on True Fire. On just kind of hybrid picking stuff and everything like that. Just to get some of my chops on that, because of course Ed does that also, and he uses his fingers on a lot of stuff, and I didn't really know the basics on how to do that. So I wanted to learn some of that stuff, but quite honestly, I found myself frustrated that I haven't done anything musically, and I'm trying to get out of that. So literally earlier, I texted my old bandmates, my drummer and my bass player, and said, guys, we've got to figure a way to get together. Got to, come over to my garage and we'll jam. Like we're a mass if we have to. Whatever you guys want to do, I need to play, And so they wrote me back and said, all right, let's pick 5 songs, 6 songs. We'll come out one afternoon in the next few weeks and we'll jam. And I was like,
Oh, that's great.
that's just, you know, it just made me feel so good to do that, because being stuck in the house and just playing by myself doesn't sound too good, but yeah, you know what I mean. Just jamming by yourself or jamming to a track, you know, it's fun and all, but it's not rewarding in a way. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so hopefully I'll start doing some more, like maybe writing with some people or playing some songs or just doing something, you know. So that's like my goal, is hopefully to start doing some more recording, and I'd like to change the song to the show one day and have a different theme song, and you know, maybe change it up. And so, you know, it's not like I don't have something that will inspire me to do something musically, because I do have the show, and that should give me a little inspiration. But it's hard. It's really hard to put it down, you know, because I'm never happy with it. And I guess we're all, you know, we're all like that, right? You put something down and you're
Absolutely.
like, oh,
Yeah, I hear you on the recording front. Recording is big weakness of mine. I'm not good at it. I look at things that, you know, I mean, Charlie is amazing at it.
Charlie is amazing at it. He gave me some tips.
But he's given me some. Yeah, he's given me some as well, and I appreciate. I you know, when he starts talking about his process and how he organizes this, I'm writing things down as he's talking, because I mean, you know, I look at things like what you know, what he's producing sonic. The videos are their own thing; those are amazing too. But sonically, what he's able to capture is very, very impressive. And
yeah, and it takes a discipline.
It sure does.
You know, when he's not putting those videos, you know, out behind the scenes, I mean, he's working on that stuff, and I know it's not easy. I know it's not. I mean, because I've tried. I've pulled up GarageBand or Logic or whatever, and I've tried to be like, all right, let me, you know, I'm going to do something now. I'm going to do this, you know. let's get to work, and then I'm like, no, that's not good enough to put out. Or I give people like Charlie a lot of credit. You know, I mean, obviously he loves Van Halen and everything, but he writes his own music.
Yep.
And he's a great player. And, you know,
heck of a nice guy too.
Yeah, great guy, really great guy. So, and I've been taking lessons from Charlie for, God, it's probably now like 2 years or longer. So, and not consistently every week, or, you know, sometimes we go like a month or two without even a lesson, but I always love connecting with him and learning from him. So he's a guitar master, that guy. He really is.
Yes, he is. Brian Spalding says,
what a sweetheart of a guy.
A true gentleman for sure. Brian Spalding says, yeah, I know what you mean. I gotta be in the mood to record. If not, I suck. And I just got to say this. You know, Brian joins us Brian's an amazing guitar player, and for all of you guys that follow Brian online, you already know these things. But if you haven't seen Brian Spalding play guitar, do yourself a favor, hop over to his page and watch some videos. Amazing.
Oh, check them out.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it's tough, you know. I know some people have said, you know, during COVID, it's been tough to write or anything like that, but it has nothing to do with that for me. It's just every day is tough. You know, like,
it's how do you come up with something new when, you know, you turn on the radio and it's like, well, all right, someone already wrote it. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I had the funniest, man. It was great. I did this riff for Charlie, right? I wrote him. I'm like, dude, I wrote this great riff, right? And he's like, oh, let me hear it. So I'm like, it was like something like a.
Cashmere.
Right, exactly. He says to me, he goes, dude, that's Cashmere. He goes, play it like this.
That's cool, man.
I'm like, oh my God. I'm just putting the guitar down from now on. You know? Like, how did I end up recreating Cashmere? It was too funny. But anyway, too funny. It's funny you picked up on that, Dave.
Oh yeah. Well, I wrote this. And then I heard that on, in '82. I heard Michael Jackson. I was like, well,
That's great, man. Good job.
just my luck.
Yeah, it sucks.
And now I'm gonna get dinged for that.
Right, exactly. No money for you on this.
No, yeah, YouTube's gonna ding the show. Damn it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Thanks, Ben, for posting Brian's channel. I'll check it out.
Yeah, Ben Coombs had a suggestion, Mark. He says, it'd be great if you had Mick Mars on. I'd love to see you guys interview Mick
Man.
Mars.
Yeah.
Mick Mars is a tone monster, often overlooked. Just from the guitar community in general. But man, what a great tune.
I'd love to have Mick Mars on. I don't know if Dave's ever done any work with him or anything like that, or has ever done any work with Motley Crue. But yeah, you're right. He's really an unsung hero in the rock world, right? I mean, he doesn't get a lot of credit, but you go to learn some of his riffs from Motley Crue, and they're not particularly easy.
That's right.
No, they're not. And you know what? A lot of times it's because they're tuned down to D.
Well, yeah, you gotta go down a whole step.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I've never been quite. His tone is great and the songs are great, but something about the distortion, I was always like in a little bit of left field. But his playing and his writing and everything is just amazing. How could you not like Motley Crue songs? They're just incredible, and it's all because of him, really. The guitar parts, anyway.
To me, was
crazy good.
That album sounds so
sonically
good.
it's huge. It's
Speaking
huge.
of Bob Rock, sounds amazing. But everything Bob Rock touched, Sonic Temple from the Cult is just perfect sonically.
I put that album on the very next day after that interview, and I was in my car. I was just driving, and I was like, "Man, what?" Oh, thanks, Ben. That's really cool of you. In case you live under a rock, that's really nice of you. Yeah, but I drove Sonic Temple, man. What a great album. Just Sonic. I mean, it's really named well, right? I mean, sonically,
yes, it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers to that, but it was done in such, and this is where the genius of production really comes in. But it was done in such a way where it was still true to who the Cult was at the time, and there was never a question of whether they could perform that live. And then there were, they could perform it live as a 3-piece band with Ian up front, or with a 5-piece band or whatever. It was just so perfect. But everything Bob Rock touched in that period was just amazing,
Yeah, unbelievable.
And some of the, as guitar players, we're always so critical of guitar tone, right? We're always coveting some tone, chasing some tone. That, if I could only have that tone, I would be satisfied. Knowing good and well, we're never fully satisfied. But he really was the architect of a lot of the best guitar tones that we're still chasing all these years later. Yeah,
no doubt. And he made it sound so simple when it came down to like, how did you record it? He was like, well, SM58 or was it 57? SM57. Yeah, SM57 and 421.
Yep.
That was it.
When he dropped that knowledge on the Whitesnake 87 thing with Sykes, and I'm just sitting there going, this has been dissected for decades now. And the answer is that simple. Most great things really are that simple, right? It was, like I said, I just kept rewinding it and listening to it, making sure that, did I hear that exactly right?
Yeah, that was pretty wild. Totally cool.
So you're obviously an Ed guy and influenced by Ed. Who are some of your other guitar influences, Mark? Who are some of the other guys that turn you on?
Yeah, Clapton. Mm-hmm. Like when I first started playing, it was more blues based. Mm-hmm. Like the thought of playing Eddie Van Halen stuff was just like, like that's just scary to me. I was scared. I was literally scared to play that kind of stuff. So to me, Gary Moore,
Oh yeah.
you know, like was Stevie Ray Vaughan, Clapton. I was going more towards, like when I first started, more towards the blues guys.
Blues rock, yeah.
Blues rock,
Mhm.
you know, learning that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Robbie Krieger of the Doors. You know,
That's a guy you should get. You know, and I'm not kidding. I met him and got to hang out with him for like 2 hours. And
Wow.
he is the sweetest guy. His 67 SG, he put it in my hands. He's like, "Here, play this for a while."
really.
Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe. Just the sweetest guy. Didn't know. Well, he was borrowing one of my amplifiers, but just an incredible, nice guy.
Wow.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, he's a hero of mine. I mean, the Doors are one of my favorite bands. When I was in college, it was like, of course, I love Van Halen and I still love Zeppelin and all that stuff, but it was like the Doors, for some reason, had like this hold on me in college. I don't know what it was, you know, them and Jane's Addiction.
Mhm.
But anyway, when I first started, it was a lot more blues playing. And I forget what the question was, Ty. What did you ask me?
Who's some
Well,
of your favorite?
other
Oh,
influences, other guys you really liked.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain fart there. Yeah. So some of those guys were first starting off, you know, but I always had in the back of my mind, it was like I want to learn how to play like Ed Van Halen. Alex Lifeson is another one. I was like, I want to learn how to play like that. Still, obviously trying. Both those guys are like really unobtainable, you know, to really get it perfect, you know.
I don't think anyone will ever. I mean, there are guys that are really close, but no one, and I'll say this again, no one can swing like Eddie. No one, he has a swing to him. No one, people come close, but not really.
Well, the true test is I'm the one, right? I mean, you ask most players, even if they're in a tribute band, or you know, cover band, whatever, Van Halen cover band, if they can play "I'm the One" and it's got that swing, and most people can't. You know, I can't. I'm not saying I can either. I mean,
I don't think really anyone can.
it's really, really hard. I mean,
It's hard.
it's super hard. I mean, and if you slow that song down, it really is just a shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the very basic of it, you slow that song all the way down. It's just like a dun 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 dun.
Well, yeah, it's a fast shuffle. It's it's a shuffle beat.
Yeah, you speed that up, and then all of a sudden it comes alive. You're like, holy crapola! How's he playing that?
I agree with you, Dave. Nobody can play like Ed, but it is inspiring for me to hit that hashtag EVH on Instagram and go and watch guys interpret the creative product that Ed gave us. And I get really inspired watching other guys. I mean, they are emoting what they've interpreted. And it's an expression, right? And it's deeply personal. And you know, look, David Lee Roth has had some amazing guitar players on stage with him. I mean, we talked about Steve Vai earlier, but what about, you know, on the Sam and Dave tour in 2002 when he had Brian Young on stage with him? I mean, Brian, good Lord, you know, he just left it all on the stage. I mean, just amazing player.
That guy is great.
Great player. Dave had Bart Walsh.
Bart Walsh was also amazing. One of my
Amazing
favorites.
player.
I never heard of
Russ
Bart Walsh.
Parrish was amazing. You know, in Atomic Punks, and you know, obviously doing what he's doing now as Satchel. And you know, for me as an observer, that begins to cascade for me, and it cascades to whether you're just a casual fan, like you were talking about, Mark, and your goal is to play this song and this solo, or whether you're gonna really strap on your big boy boots and try to go tribute it. And the key word right there is really tribute it. But I think the important part of all of that, and I think we've been reminded about the importance of that in the last 14 days, 16 days, that he really kind of brought all of us together, and we're all appreciating, that gift, whether, I mean, we've had a lot of alumni on this show, yourself included, Mark, that are deeply inspired by Van Halen, and they're all doing their own thing with it. They're all doing their own interpretation with it. Pete, Dave, your old friend, my new friend Pete, doing his thing, Caleb doing his thing, all of us, trying to, pay homage to the gift he left us. I've been extremely inspired, the last several weeks, whether it's watching Jay do the beginning of that Mean Street thing that he does so perfectly, or watching Cameron Brown videos. I mean, it's inspiring.
Yeah. Thanks, Boner Jams. Evening, gents. Looking good, Dave. Ty, have to turn up my hearing aids to hear you. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Hope everyone has a great weekend. You know what? It's okay. We'll
I can hear you.
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yeah, it's
fine.
We'll
tackle it.
No biggie.
And let's face it, if it wasn't for Edward Van Halen, none of us would know each other.
That is
no one in the chat, none of us on the screen, nobody would know each other.
100% true. I wouldn't be doing my show if it wasn't for Edward Van Halen.
None of us would be.
Yep, I wouldn't be doing it because I wouldn't have discovered Johnny's show. I wouldn't have ended up doing that Van Halen discussion show that I was on for less than a year or whatever. And I, it wouldn't have led me down this path of doing Tone Talk, of which, to me, like I talked about getting back together with my band that I haven't played with in a really long time. That the show really kind of replaced that for me, jamming with guys. It's like it was an outlet of talking about music and something musical in my life that that I can talk about or do something, or have some passion about, so thank God for that, and thank God for Ed Van Halen,
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah, I'll drink to that.
Mark, let me ask you about a pursuit of tone for you. Like when you're sitting back and just playing for your own sense of fulfillment, enjoyment, what tone are you normally chasing? Is it a heavier tone? Is it more of a Tres Hombres tone with your new Sir amp and a Les Paul? I mean, when you're playing, what are you going for?
Yeah, it's funny. I wonder if other people are like this, because I must have like 4 or 5 or 6 different rigs, right? Like different amps and stuff. Mm-hmm. And almost every one of them, except for like the Fendery stuff, I've got a Van Halen tone dialed in there somewhere. Like that there. Like that's like my go-to tone for rock. But I really do love to just get on a clean amp, like a Fender style amp with like some beautiful single coils, and just
love single coils.
Yeah, and just really. Oh, what's cute doggy there?
Oh, thank you. This is Snickers.
Yeah, so I love going through that and just finger picking or just doing something soft and enjoying that kind of shimmery clean. I really do enjoy that. But most of the time, I'm going for it's more I guess the tone that I'm going for is more like vintage Van Halen.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite album for tone? Favorite Van Halen album for tone?
Yeah, we just talked about that on my show, though, the dedicated to show, and I went between Fair Warning and 1984. Mm-hmm. Depending on my mood, because 1984 is a little cleaner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fair Warning's a little more compressed, a little darker. Yeah. So I'll go between those two. But like I used to own EVH amps. Mm-hmm. And not knocking them at all, but I think I found a bit more airiness to the Friedman amps, or like a Plexi style.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, there's more. Right. There's something about there's like an openness and airiness to the notes and the articulation that you don't get with those with the EVH amps. Maybe on the Blue Channel a little bit, but there's just something about like when you start playing something from like Panama or something from '84, it's a little too compressed for me on the EVH stuff. Although I still have you and I were talking about this, Ty. I still have my eye on the that 50 watt Stealth. I think I'm going to get that. Don't tell my wife.
Yeah.
Secret
safe.
Well, I said this on another show, and the question that was asked to me is, can you play all kinds of music on a EVH amp? And I said, no, you can't. You can do hard rock, you can do metal, you can do the new Van Halen sound, but you can't play country on that amp. I don't care what you say. Everyone says it's got a great clean sound. You can never put enough mids in that clean sound to make it sound like anything, like an old Fender amp. You can't play jazz. You can't do much else other than rock and heavy metal. On a Friedman amp, especially the small box 50, you can do anything. The clean channel is ridiculous how good it is. You can also play 70s rock. You can play country on it. You can play anything on that amplifier. And the person that was on the show with disagreed with me, but that's neither here nor there. But it's like, the 5150 is good for one thing, really. And it's not that it's a bad amp. It's a great sounding amp for that thing. I have one back here. But, you can't play all kinds of music on it.
Well, I mean, look, you can play anything you want, but will it sound authentic?
Well, that's what I mean by it. Authentic sounding.
Yeah, if it's not going to sound authentic. And that's the problem. I personally, that's why I think I've got many amps. Like I wanted to get that Ombre amp from Sir because I saw Pete Thorne do a demo on it, and he did straight up like ZZ stuff on it. I was like,
love that sound.
Holy crap! I need that amp. And it's a Fender brown face circuit, and it's got a great tremolo on it, and just so I just roll back the volume knob, even though it's turned up to like 5 or 6. Roll back the volume knob on the guitar, cleans up super awesome, and you hear the tremolo going. So I love that too. So I'm not always like rocking it out, but like even today, I put on the BE100 behind me, and it's got a saturation switch in the back, right, where you can turn it into more of that compressed, saggier kind of feel. And I went back. After about 5 minutes, I turned it off. I was like, no, I think I like it more open, airy sounding.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's just for me. That's kind of the tone I go for. But almost like I've got a Kemper.
Okay.
And
me too.
Yeah, and to Dave's hatred, probably. Did I even talk about it? I know he's not a fan of the Kemper, but I love it.
Well, it serves a purpose, right? They're all tools, and they can all serve an appropriate, an appropriate function. I heard somebody describe the Friedman amps as, and I full disclosure, I'm a big Friedman amp enthusiast, I'll say. So. Very familiar with the product line, you go and you take the guitar and you plug it into an amp, any amp, and then you adjust it until the amp sounds good. I think the difference is that, like with the Friedman amp, I feel like it makes me sound good, and there's a difference. There's a difference there to my ear. I don't have to work real hard I don't have to work at all for that type of tone. Are there other amp companies that do that? Yeah. But I'm just people have asked me a lot of questions about Friedman amp. I mean, I've taken a Friedman amp to a country stage before. I played the Bucks and Betty. I'm a big fan of that amp. So I've played that on the country side. My favorite amp of all time is the small box. And that's what that's what works for me. And, what's that? Wasn't it Joe Satriani that just said, play what you like? You know, stop wasting all your time, you know, on the gear piece of it and start playing.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, it's kind of I try to approach things that way. I'm not always successful, but I try to approach things that way.
Yeah.
And Max is saying that he loves his Marshall. That's awesome, man. If that Marshall makes you pick up the guitar and play more, that's the right amp for you.
Yeah. I mean, I had and I love what you said about it makes you play better or makes you sound good, you know?
Yeah.
I felt the same way. I've gone through a bunch of amps, and it's not like, you know, I know people may say, he does a show with Dave, he's all biased, you know. No, I mean, there's a reason why his amps are coveted. I'm just a lucky guy to be able to do a show with the guy, but his amps are really special. I had a Splon. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Quick rod.
Right. I had a quick rod. Right. And to me, that was like, I always wanted a Friedman, but I couldn't before I knew Dave. This is even before I knew Dave. I always wanted a Friedman, but I couldn't afford it. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I just didn't want to spend the money on it, basically. You know, I was like, I don't want to spend that much money. So I figured I'll get a Splon. That's kind of a poor man's Friedman, you know.
Great.
But they're great amps,
yeah.
But you got to work to play them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're stiffer and definitely stiffer.
Kind of like a real Plexi.
Yeah, exactly. They do have a bit more of that real Plexi feel where it's not as forgiving.
Mm-hmm. You gotta have real good hands, good connection between your fingers and strings.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's going to be slop, and you're gonna. Yeah, it's true.
That's why I don't have a Plexi.
And it took a lot to make it, you know, make me sound good, you know, until I actually was pretty good, you know. I ended up selling that amp, but just for the fact that I didn't need so many amps, but it was a great amp. You know, it's a great amp. I mean, I think Splon makes great stuff too. No knock on them.
Me too.
Yeah, I you know, really heard great stuff from them.
Bruce Egnator, which y'all talked to, great stuff. Metropolis, great stuff.
Yeah. And it's all in the ear, you know, like George Metropolis, great builder, you know. I mean, I had bought the Metroplex.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I thought it was a great amp. But then I started hearing some other amps, and I was like, you know what? It's a great amp, but it's just not for me. I think I prefer this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, he makes great stuff too.
It's just never been, you know, we've said this several times, Dave, you know, over the last few months. There's just never been a better time to be a player because there's so much gear available to us at all different price points. And you don't have to spend a fortune to sound amazing. You just have to play more to sound amazing. Tom says that he's got a 71 Super Lead. That's pretty hallowed ground right there.
I had one for a while in my 20s, and I played a Clapton Strat through it, and it was godly. It was amazing. Well, because the 25 dB boost in the guitar.
Mm.
But when you play a regular guitar through it, it's not easy to play through unless you're playing on 10.
Yeah. Yeah, 71 Super Lead. I'd love to have something like that.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I mean, I have a 50-watt Plexi reissue. It was a Marshall 1987.
1987X, yeah. Great.
Yeah, and Dave modded it for me to sound like Van Halen.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So, which is cool.
Nice.
So I run it with a Variac, and I plug it into the aux. So I have
That's a great piece of gear.
The aux is amazing. I love the aux. Which, by the way, tomorrow night I'm having James Santiago from Universal Audio on.
Man, I love that guy. I used to watch his Voodoo Lab videos all the time.
Oh yeah,
you know, like his Cliffs of Dover thing with the Giggity and the Sparkle Drive mod. Did y'all ever see those videos?
No, I haven't seen that.
Man, he could dial it up. It was Cliffs of Dover. He did Van Halen. You should just go on YouTube, check it out. It's back when he was working with Voodoo Labs and doing the Giggity and that type of thing. It was fantastic. He's got a great ear.
Yeah, really nice guy. I met him at NAMM last year, a year before, and been meaning to have him on the show, so looking forward to having him on. But the aux is a great piece of gear. It's like I have no excuse not to record, not to do something creative, but it's hard. That's a goal. That's a goal of something I need to move forward towards. Keep doing.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. So that'll be an awesome show.
You know,
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Mark. When you're running your super lead, when you're running your 50 watt into the Variac, how is that on your tubes? Do you replace tubes often or no?
No. Dave rebiased it. He biased it for the Variac at 90 volts.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's gonna run. It's not gonna run cold or hot. It's just running.
It just runs normal.
Just right. Yeah. So
Great.
Yeah, I think that there's, we talked about Kempers, and Kempers have and we've talked about Kempers and Axifex and fractals on this show quite a bit. And I don't buy into this digital versus analog argument. I believe that there's a place for both, and I've used both in a lot of different types of in a lot of different contexts. But I think that there's an opportunity right in front of us that if you love your 2 amps, these new boxes with IRs built into them. Gives us a chance to take these to stages. And if front of house, if they prefer quiet stages, you get to have a quiet stage. You get to have something realistic in your ears instead of what you're accustomed to when micing cabinets and so forth. The way technology is today, if we embrace this technology, there are ways for us to use this gear that we love so much. It doesn't have to be an either or. It can be there can be a marriage between the two.
yeah, and most definitely. I mean, if I were gigging, at least for me, I would do a blend. I probably wouldn't do. I wouldn't use a Kemper live. That's I would use a real amp, but I would probably use an aux or something like that, or or the 2 Notes Captor X or something like that, and go front of house.
Sir's got a new box. Sir's got a new box with IRs.
Yeah. And I'm sure Dave's going to come out with an amp at some point, which is going to have a load and IRs in it, and the whole thing.
Sure.
I would imagine. So yeah, it's a great time to be alive with guitar playing. There is no doubt about it. No doubt. It beats the days when all we had was like the Line 6 pod, right?
Oh, are you kidding me, man?
Horrible.
I mean, I remember being excited about that thing. I was like,
well, we had never seen anything like it. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, we had never seen anything like that before.
yeah. I mean, it's funny to go. I'd love to go back. I think someone like one of the channels did that. Like, let's go back and listen to what a pod sounds like.
Do you have any of Dave's modules, like the
the
Vibe
Synergy?
module, the Synergy stuff?
I do, because that head behind me is the Synergy 50.
Oh, okay,
Sweet.
cool.
Very nice.
And then I've also got the Syn 1 sitting over here. So yeah, I've got the SLO module. That's my favorite one, hands down. Soldano SLO module. And then I got the Dirty Shirley module, which is great. And what else? I've got the.
I don't see a green one, so I don't think you have the Steve I.
No, I don't have the Vi one yet. I've got the Plexi, which is the one that Dave designed that one.
Yeah.
Which sounds very Van Halen like. And then I've also got the Engel Savage.
Oh man, I bet that's brutal.
Brutal. Yeah, it's more than I could ever use. There is so much gain on tap of that thing.
I bet it is.
That's
It's
amazing.
like one of the only amps or any module that I have where the gain's on half. Like yeah, the gain on both channels is on half, which is very different than anything else I have, right?
That's awesome.
It's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
but
Engel amps, man. I like how tight the bottom end can be in an Engel amp. I dig those. I would not have an occasion to play an amp with that much horsepower in terms of gain behind it, it wouldn't. It would be lost on a player like me. But man, they really do make those things sound great.
Yeah, and then the other one that I've got is a diesel VH4 module.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
That sounds great. That's another. It's not overly gainy, unless you want it to be, but that can do a Van Halen thing too. I found, but it's a bit tighter, tighter in the bass. Yeah, I love the Synergy stuff. I mean, if anybody checks that out, they really make great stuff. The Vi module. Want to hear a funny story? So we were at Sweetwater Fest, and this was like kind of the debut of the Vi module.
Yeah,
kind of.
It's like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, like 2 years ago. Yeah, exactly. And so Steve had used it for his live show, and then I missed. Did I see that live show? No, I missed his live show, which was the day before. I flew in because I had some business and I was in Indiana, so I drove up to Fort Wayne, where Sweetwater is, with the Sweetwater Fest. So it was the next day. So that morning, I drove up, and it was Sammy Bowler, and Sammy says, "Hey, we got to go get I'm going to go get the Vi module out of Steve's rig." And I'm like, "Cool, can I come?" I want to see Steve's rig, right? So we walk to the big pavilion area at Sweetwater, behind the stage, and they were setting up for Eric Johnson at the time. Cool. So we're behind the stage, and we go, and we see that there's I actually have a picture of it somewhere. His gear was covered with a tarp that said Steve Vai's stuff, do not touch, or something like that along those lines. And so Sammy took the tarp off, and as he's unjiggling the thing, the guy goes, "Oh, are you looking for that module?" And we look at him, and we're like, "Yeah, we're coming to get the module." And he's like, "Oh, someone just came and got it." So we're like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, someone just came and got that module out of there." So Sammy opened it up, and sure enough, the module was gone. So he's texting Dave like, "Where's the module?" So for like a half hour, we couldn't find the module, but someone from Sweetwater had it. Someone from Sweetwater had grabbed it out of there to make sure that it was safe. But for about a half hour, and I remember asking Dave, I said, "What happens if you lose that?" He's like, "Well, that's the only prototype we have."
Oh, man.
And that was the approved one. I was like, "Oh my God, thank God you got that one back."
Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater with the brand new Steve Vai module.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when the guy walked up and handed over, they were like, "Oh, thank God you have that." So that was funny.
So funny.
Yeah, but I haven't tried the Steve Vai module actually.
I haven't tried any of them.
Sounds good under his hands. Man, it sounds really good. Sounds like Steve.
Sounds like Steve. I mean, I know they built it to be like an ecstasy. Not an ecstasy.
The Carve and Legacy.
Legacy, yes, Legacy. Brain fart again. Getting old.
That was a good run he had with that amplifier. Long time.
Yeah, and I never tried one ever. Never had one.
Tried several of them. I always thought they sounded great with anything. Yeah, I always thought they sounded good. Hey, Cameron, good to see you.
Cameron Brown here. Hello.
What's up, Cameron? It's late for him. Jeez.
Yeah, what is it? 4:00 in the morning over there, somewhere around there.
That's so funny that Stephen Douglas wrote that. Mark, you get a Digitech Lux yet? So I literally got it on hold on my Reverb, just because I got scammed out of money like a week ago. For something crazy. $500 gone, like that.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, for someone who called the house or called my wife and pretended to be AT&T. Hey, you want to do some savings? We have some deals. Sure. Next thing you know, Anyway, long story short, we had to get new cards. So I hit the Lux in my cart, and I was going to pay for it, and then it said you need to update your card in the system of Reverb. And I was like, oh man, it just saved me like from buying that. So so I didn't have the time to enter it all in. So I have to update my card on Reverb. But yes, I'm going to get that pedal. For
Now,
anybody
what pedal is that? What is that?
It's a pedal that Dave recommended to do the detune Eddie balance error tone.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. He recommended that if you want to get like a detune type tone. So I said, all right, I need to do that. And then the other one was if you want to get a great plate reverb, he said
the Polera.
The Polera pedal, yeah. So
Yeah,
like all those pedals, every time Dave mentions a pedal, the price on reverb starts going up.
Yeah, well,
It's
the
funny.
guys like Jesus.
Yeah. It's like what was that? What was that commercial when it was like a stock commercial or something like that? E.F. Hutton when E.F.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. When Dave Friedman
When Ian Hutton
talks.
talks, people listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, the Polera, I got turned on to that pedal earlier in the year, and it really is an amazing reverb pedal.
That's what I hear. Oh,
Cameron Brown says it's sick.
Yeah, I think I need to get one. Crazy how many things I need to get.
We all do, right?
Yeah.
Just one more thing.
I really am going to get the EVH stealth amp. I don't need it, but I have this connection that I feel like I need to buy something Eddie Van Halen related. Right? I don't know what it is. I've got enough gear, clearly, but just since he's passed, I feel like I need to buy something Ed related. Why? Maybe it makes me feel connected to him more again or something. I don't know. It's been a really hard 2 weeks.
Yes, it has.
Coming back to it's been really sad. Not to bring everything down, but yeah,
It's just the truth. It is what it is. It's the biggest loss of our generation.
Yeah.
Biggest loss of our generation.
Yeah, huge for me. For all of us, really. I mean, I know a lot of people are in pain about it. So, and you could tell because so much of his gear is flying off the shelves.
Yes, it is.
And by the way, can I bring up? Am I the only one who noticed that PV suddenly is like pushing their HP2s?
Oh yeah, of course they are. Yeah,
sick. Sorry, just gonna say it.
On where did I see it today? I saw it on Facebook that there's a store that happens to have one of the new Relic Frankensteins. The EVH version of $1,600. It's now like $2,600. It went up $1,000 because they had it in stock. That's crazy. That's not right.
No,
not right. And it was a store. It wasn't just an individual. It was a store that's price gouging because they happen to have one and he died.
Right, and they know that it's hard to find.
Right.
That's the thing. People are like, well, people are buying stuff up and they're taking advantage of people who are sad, who are hurting, like myself. It may sound stupid. I didn't know the guy. I've actually, look, I'm a lucky guy. I've said it that I know Dave, but I wish I knew Dave back in 2007. I've had these thoughts in the past couple weeks. Like, God, if only I'd known Dave back in 2007, maybe I would have met this guy. I would have met Eddie Van Halen. So it's been a tough time, and for people to go ahead and take advantage of people who want to have some part of Ed right now, it's disgusting. So at least, yeah. Like Ben says, douche move. It's a douche move. It's not cool.
I have found, like I said earlier, I have found comfort in seeking other like-minded people, inspired players who are remembering him in all kinds of unique ways. I have found comfort in you know, not necessarily connecting online in the sense of we're communicating back and forth, but at least engaging with their online content. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I've been listening to a lot of interviews from him. Steve Rosen interviews.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Lost interview. That was cool.
Yep. Yep. All those interviews, those vintage interviews from Guitar World, and just listening to all those interviews. I listened today to an interview from '96 where he was talking about how sober he was, and and how he cut off all his hair, and all this stuff, and just trying to reminisce in that way, just listening, and of course listening to all the music and stuff. I've been like we were talking about before, like watching people post stuff and everything.
Yeah.
I've been working for a week now on Women in Love.
Oh yeah.
With the beginning part?
Yeah, I must have recorded myself like 50 times trying to do this already.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave. Let me hear
I can't do it now.
That was close.
I haven't played it in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Forgive me for the mistakes. No charge.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's so you work so hard on trying to get so close to playing that stuff, and no matter how close you get, you ain't close enough.
Right.
It's just you're never gonna be close enough.
Right. It's so true. I'm like, oh, I want to post it just kind of as maybe the tone sounds good or the delay sounds really close or whatever, but then I go to listen to it, I'm like, nah, man, that's not cutting the mustard. I'm not
But did you see him play it on the Smithsonian interview?
Yeah.
Didn't sound like that either.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Didn't sound like that record. Sounded fantastic. Didn't sound like the record.
Yeah, well, we all have off days. Yeah. And it was funny though because he said, he goes, "Oh, I don't have the effects. I don't have the effects."
I don't have that.
It's like no, but yeah, that was.
But I know what you mean by you wish you were there. You wish you knew Dave in 2007. You wanted maybe you could have met him. I'm not saying that what Ed meant to me is any different than anyone else because he means the world to everybody. But for me personally, I was with him for a week, so I know a little bit more than just the guy that's never met him, that always wanted to meet him, that always well, he's got to be a great guy.
Well, right, you mean
he was a great guy. He was a super, super nice guy. He didn't know me from a hole in a wall, but he asked me to hang out with him while I was in New York because I worked at Manny's. He trusted the guys at Manny's, and I dealt with him the year before by lending him a guitar of mine. So in '98, who'd he call? He called me, which was very cool. And it's just, and I know that if he would walk past me today, no way would he know who the hell I was. No way. But just knowing for that week, like there was one, I said this, I think I said it last week, where I was standing right next to him when they were doing the autograph signing at Virgin Records in the city. And he's signing, like, there was thousands of people online, and in the middle of signing autographs, like, Dave, did you get that wah back that I had that you lent me? I'm like, why are you worried about that? Sign autographs. Don't worry about me. It was like, all of a sudden, he was like, did you get that wah back? I'm like, what?
Right.
Who cares? In fact, not only did I get it back, but I'm keeping it. Because it belonged to the store. I was like, I'm keeping that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a dream come true.
It was just, what an incredible, and then to be standing next to him and Howard Stern, and then to be standing next to him and, Alex and Mike Anthony and Gary Sharon. It's just ridiculous. It was ridiculous when I was in his, it was the first night, because I had delivered a 5150 amp to his hotel. And the first evening he came in to thank me and to shake my hand, he gave me a hug and kiss. I'm like, oh my God, I'm never leaving this room, let alone, Eddie Van Halen gave me a hug and kiss.
That's
Holy
cool.
crap.
That's amazing.
That's cool. That's a cool experience.
Just, I every time I tell this whole story, I think of new things that happened. I just remember things that.
He's touched a lot of people's lives.
What an amazing individual, regardless of him being the guitar guy and the innovator and all. Just what an individual he was. What a person. What an amazing man he was.
Yeah. Yeah. There was this one recent interview that I heard where it was in '86 with I think it was Steve Rosen, and he was talking about how hurt he was from Dave leaving the band, and he really opened up, and I actually started to get a bit more of a perspective on things that it changed my opinion on Ed a bit. Like I always kind of felt like, oh, Ed's the difficult one, but changed my opinion. Definitely changed my opinion listening to several of these interviews. And yeah, I mean, he's touched so many people's lives.
Yes.
I mean, I had posters of the guy on my wall when I was, 15, 16, so just amazing stuff. But yeah, so anyway, long live the king, right?
Yep.
That's right.
Cheers.
No one will ever sit in his throne. No one.
Yep. Oh man, someone wrote on my, I did a show dedicated to him, and someone wrote, "Oh, Wolfie should do a show dedicated to Ed, and Wolfie should play guitar." I'm like, no, nobody should play guitar in place of Ed. It's done. At least that's my opinion.
I've got mixed feelings about it. I've got mixed feelings. It's never going to be the same. Never going to be same without him. But I do have mixed feelings about that. I think it would be interesting, and it's okay that you and I have different
it's cool.
opinions about this. I think it would be interesting to have Wolfie play guitar, Mike back on bass, Dave and Sammy singing, and Alex just to remember Ed. I don't know. Well, I guess it would have to be a tribute, but I don't know that I'd want to see that all the time. But I would like to see one show like that, just to put a cork on the bottle.
Yeah, I mean, or alternatively, I don't know if I want to see Wolfgang on guitar. Maybe I'd like to see Wolfgang on bass, and then to have some guest guitar players come in and do some songs, like a tribute to Ed.
That sounds good too.
That would be cool. But to carry on or do something, that wouldn't be cool. Maybe.
Yeah, I just think it would need to be,
a one-time thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So here's a question for both of you. Do you think we will see Al play drums again?
Yes.
You think you do? You do think so?
I don't think it'll be Van Halen music, but I think he'll play with Wolfie. I think maybe the live show, if there is one, will be Alex on drums.
Wow. That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The guy's never played with anybody else, right? Which is really an amazing thing if you think about it, because Ed did play with a lot of other people.
Yeah. But what makes this believable is he has played with Wolfgang.
Right. True.
And it's been, bass and drums, which is a rhythm section. So he knows how Wolfgang is going to play. He knows he can play with him.
Right.
So that's why I think it's possible.
Yeah. It's possible. Someone asked, how old is Alex? Janice asked.
Older,
Ed
right?
was 65, and it's his older brother. His younger brother. Alex is younger, right?
No, I thought Eddie was the
Alex
younger
is
one.
older.
Alex is older.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's a year or two, so I think he's 66 or 67.
Okay.
Was it the Balance tour that Alex toured with a neck brace?
Yes.
Was that the Balance tour?
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird time. Yeah.
It really was. And to Mark's point, he's never played with anybody else. Being a drummer is so physical. He's in his late 60s. His creative partner is no longer with him. I wonder if we'll see him play again.
Yeah, I wonder too. He's got to be, out of all the people who are hurting, he's going to be hurting the most, besides Wolfgang, about this.
Yeah.
So,
Partner in crime, gone.
yeah, man, got to be tough. But I'd love to see Alex. I mean, That's another guy who's just very an unsung hero. I mean,
Golly.
his drumming is amazing. So,
The
people
snare
talk about,
sound, the tone of his snare drum alone.
whatever he was doing on Hot for Teacher, the drumming on Hot for Teacher is just insane.
Yeah.
Who mentioned that recently? Somebody on Facebook mentioned that it was very inspired by Billy Cobham, Stratus or something like that, I think.
I love Stratus. That song is amazing.
Yeah. But I mean, he was very influenced by that, but just an amazing drummer. I'd love to see him do something else. I mean, he never even did like you would see, they would have like these modern drummer things or like the Buddy Rich thing when you would see Neil Peart would go out and do like a jazz thing or something. Like Alex never did anything.
I don't think he ever had anything to prove.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
I think a lot of guys that do these competition things have something to prove to whomever.
Yeah, I mean, but just to try something different, But yeah, it's amazing. Someone said, Ben, if there's a tribute show, do it like Freddie Mercury concert with a bunch of guys jamming with the band. Yeah, I can see that. A one-off.
And Eddie on the back screen playing the songs along with them.
Oh, let's go for the hologram.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie hologram.
Yeah.
Oh God. I hope not.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, personally, again, I'm going to say it for the third time tonight, I'm glad that this community exists where we can find some comfort, among one another and among other like-minded people to have these kinds of conversations, because it's inside the community that everybody understands, right? I mean, everybody understands that, to your point, Mark, someone that two out of the three of us never met had such a profound impact on our lives. It is a big deal.
Yeah, and plus, I think there's an element of it's your own mortality. When you see somebody who's been such a hero of yours and they're gone, it makes you start thinking about your own mortality, right? And
it's crazy.
Yeah, you're
right.
You just start. It's sad. It really is. The whole thing is. But yeah, he meant the world to me. His music will live on. That's for sure.
Yes. Yep.
So, and I'll have the endless pursuit of trying to sound like him.
We all do.
Which I never.
We all do. That's right. We all do. We all do.
So, which is great. Yeah, this is great. You guys have a great show, a great audience.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for being here. I've really, really enjoyed this conversation because I've been on the other side and watched. I watched all of your episodes. I mean, I loved your Van Halen tribute that you did last week, and it's just so nice to have this conversation with you, learn a little more about you personally, and so thank you for sharing all that with us. And
oh yeah, man, I'm
we'll
honored.
We'll have to do it again.
I'd love to come back, and I'm honored to be on the show. I've known Dave for a while. It's an honor to meet you, Ty, and
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really
it was a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun.
And thanks for everybody for watching. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thanks everybody. Ben Coombs, thank you so much. Desiree, thank you.
Yeah, thanks to everybody.
Mark,
Mark, thanks for.
Let's get a couple of things from Mark before he leaves, Dave. Tone Talk tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern. We got James Santiago from UA, Universal Audio. I'm going to be putting up the link later tonight. Check out the show, tone-talk.com or Tone Talk on YouTube. Check it out.
Mark,
you know what I always wanted to ask you? There's one thing I wanted to ask you, Mark. How are you able to get a Fender Stratocaster tone knob as your thing without getting in trouble? The tone knob.
Oh, really?
How are you able to do that? That's brilliant. Is what I'm saying. That is brilliant.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, no one's ever told me that I can't use it.
I don't know that you can or you can't. I'm just saying. First of all, I'm surprised that anything Fender related is so like cease and desist type thing. It is brilliant that you're able to use that because that says it all right there.
Well, thanks. Yeah. I actually, I don't know if I owe that to Charlie, but Charlie did my logo.
Oh, cool, man.
And it was his idea to do the on the O, make it look like a knob.
Sure.
And so that was his idea, and he did the logo for me, which I owe him a great debt. So because he did a great job.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but the tone, I appreciate that, Dave. Thanks.
It's really cool.
Hopefully, I won't get a cease and desist now.
Nah, nobody watching this show.
That's funny.
Nah, if you haven't gotten it by now, there's no way you're going to get one.
I doubt it, but I mean, I can't imagine that that's patented in any way, or copyrighted or anything, but
trademarked or whatever. Yeah, I from the first episode, I was like, oh man, that's gonna blow up. That's gonna be big because that tone knob. That's it. You look tone knob and you think tone talk.
Right.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm proud of the show. I really am. It's
you should be. You should be.
Thank you. Hell,
I'm proud of it for you.
Oh, thanks, man. I mean, you guys, Dave, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't have done the show if it wasn't for, you, Johnny. It was the catalyst for all of that stuff.
Well, regardless of Johnny or myself or anyone like that, your show it's a great show. It really is top notch, great. It's interesting. The people you have on it are top notch. It's just, and it's very informative. It's just a great show.
Thanks.
It's like it should be on TV. If it was on TV, I'd watch it.
I wish it was. I wish it was. I can't say that I haven't thought like one day I hope this can be a career, or I hope that maybe I can switch careers one day. But that's a dream. I doubt it's ever going to happen. But it's fun to do, and I'm honored that I've got people like you guys watching. I really am. I mean, cool. It's a dream come true to be able to do it. So. Thanks so much for watching. Everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Okay. By the way, Tessie Switch. What's up, Rob? I haven't talked to you in a long time.
Yes, Rob's one of our guys. He is a sponsor for the show. I should say thank you to Rob at Tessie Switch for the stuff that he does. Thank you to Jody at Guitar Straps, and thank you to Adam Reaver at FU-Tone. You three are amazing companies, amazing people. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
On that note, Mark, stay with us for a few minutes, and we'll say goodbye to everyone. See you next week.
Good night, everyone. Yep.
We'll see you all next week.